So look at these. These are some Aboriginal paintings on the rock, and it could be up to 10,000 years old. If I tell you the name of the islands, the 7 islands that we're going to visit, can you remember them? They're Lion, Dangar, Spectacle, Long, Peat, Milson and Bar Islands. You have to remember all these 7 islands' name as we cruise along. This is your task. So if you can't remember, so you have to watch this whole video. Hello and welcome to our channel Diversity Travelers. Today is a beautiful day in Sydney, not very hot and it's not raining, and it's a new video. So this is going to be a river cruise video. So we are going to do a 7 island cruise on this beautiful Hawkesbury River, as you can see in our background, and that's the ferry and that's the train that we took from Central Station, Sydney Central Station. Just arrived here and we're going to do a 3 hours cruise on this beautiful Hawkesbury River. Enjoy this amazing river cruise with us. We are back in Sydney and we are catching a train to Hawkesbury River Station because today, this morning, we are doing a 7 island cruise on Hawkesbury River, and it will be a fantastic day because it's not raining today in Sydney. So please come and join us and enjoy this amazing river cruise in Sydney. And this is going to be our train to the Hawkesbury River Station, and this is going to be a fantastic ride. Probably it will take an hour before we get to the cruise. So we are on board our train to Hawkesbury River Station, and if you have watched our video from Sydney to Hawkesbury River train ride that we did in 2024, that was a fascinating video and that was an amazing scenic ride. And we are going to cruise on that same river, Hawkesbury River, today. And if you haven't watched that video, please watch that video, because I'm not going to record the whole train journey today because we have a different purpose. We'll be on board on that cruise, so please enjoy that video as well. So that will give you a different perspective of that scenic journey, and so please enjoy that video before watching this cruise video. We have just arrived at the Hawkesbury River Station, and this is where our cruise will start. Fantastic, isn't it? These trains are magnificent in Sydney. And this is our Hawkesbury River. So it's going to be a fascinating day. It's not very sunny, it's a bit cloudy, but no rain. So from the station, we are just going up before going to the cruise terminal, and it will be very close here. And look at the view. I'll just show you a little bit. So this is actually a fantastic location. Look at the location of this station, Hawkesbury River Station, and look at the surroundings. And this is going to be the cruise terminal where our ferry or cruise will start the 7 island cruise today. Fantastic. And there is a lift, but we want to take the stairs because the view is very nice. There is a very popular Riverboat Postman ferry cruise that happens every day, but we're not doing that. We are doing this 7 island cruise because that's very rare. It doesn't actually run that often, maybe 2-3 times every month. And we got very lucky. We have been in Sydney this week and we got this beautiful cruise on 27th of September, and that's the grand final day. You are watching this video much later than when we are recording. Nevertheless, it's timeless. It's so beautiful. You'll enjoy this cruise. That's the Riverboat Postman ferry that I was talking about, and maybe we'll do this one as well some other time. And look at the settings. It almost looks like Hobart waterfront. And this is the Riverboat Postman office where you need to check in. So we just checked in and we were told that this is the same boat they use for the regular Postman ferry and also the river cruise, the 7 island river cruise. So we will be jumping on that ferry very soon. They're all going to join us today on this boat. On this cruise, they provide you morning tea and also lunch. So it's going to be very interesting journey. And why it's 7 islands? Because there are quite a few islands, but this particular ferry, this cruise covers 7 distinct islands, and I'm going to talk about those islands a little bit later. This is nice, and it has got quite a bit of open space, so it's going to be fun and good video. And what's this, Arunima?
Yeah, when we checked in, they gave us this token and told not to lose it before we board the boat.
Oh, okay.
So
This is the token. Okay, you have got 2 for both of us. Okay, that's excellent. If you look, there is an Australia Post boxes. So this ferry normally delivers all those posts that Australia Post to those remote islands where there is no access to or by vehicles, normal vehicles. So they always rely on this ferry for their posts, and also they travel on different ferries, so there is no way they can drive to those islands. So that's why this ferry and this cruise is quite unique in that sense. So we are joining the boat now.
Hi, mate.
So we are on board. We are on board and we got our beautiful 2-seaters. So this is going to be just window side, and this is our seats. So we are going to enjoy our morning tea and lunch here while we look around and enjoy the cruise. I've got my microphone on, so the voice will be much better. So Arunima, you were telling me that this is the freshly baked ANZAC biscuit. Oh, look at this on our table. We have got this freshly baked ANZAC biscuits for morning tea, and soon we'll start. A lot of people are already sitting on the designated seats, and we are here. A beautiful location we've got. We will be roaming around, of course, and I'm going to look around, talk about all those islands and various interesting things. Particularly, we'll be able to see a lot of Aboriginal heritage that we will be passing by. So it's going to be a fascinating journey. Before we start our journey, I want to go upstairs and look around. It could be very slippery if it is windy and raining. And look at the train. That's the train we took from Sydney Central. And look at the view. This is just already fantastic. I think I'm going to spend most of my time on this floor rather than sitting downstairs. Obviously, I'm going to have my lunch and tea there, and just wanted to show around the boat. And that's the check-in office that we checked in. And so we can walk around the boat. So I'm going to walk around the boat and show you the best possible view and talk about a little bit facts and figures. I figured out, I listed from ChatGPT last night, and I've got some idea what to say. And if you are more interested, you can always Google, but I'll give you the name of the islands and you will be able to search on it. So continue the walk. That's the whole tour of the boat, and there are a few more seats here. We can also come here and sit, and that's the boat driver's chamber. That's the captain's deck. And that's Arunima sitting here. So are you trying the biscuit? How is the ANZAC biscuit?
very crispy, unlike the normal ANZAC biscuits, which are much more chewy.
Chewy, okay.
But very tasty.
Give me a little bit. I'll try. And so this is, I've got a little piece, and very buttery, very crunchy, really nice. This is very, very clean, ultra clean. Excellent. We are almost ready to go, and I think that was the last passengers. So we just started our cruise, and that's looking really nice, and it's slowly coming out on the Hawkesbury River. Wow, this is fascinating stuff. That was really a smooth start. And there are a lot of fishing trawlers and fishing boats here, and it's actually turning at the moment. Let's go upstairs. We are turning. Wow. And so this is the front of the boat, as you have seen already, and this is where our station was, and we are now sailing. This cruise has started. Hawkesbury River Station to 7 Island cruise. Fascinating stuff. We have already given tea, so let me join Arunima and enjoy the tea while we get into the deeper of Hawkesbury River. And look at this, the beauty has already started. Beautiful location, isn't it? Wow, fascinating. So we have got our tea, morning tea, and with ANZAC biscuits, as you have known. So we are going to enjoy tea for a while, then start the video again. So we are going a bit fast, and look at the train. The whole walkway, you can see the whole walkway there, and look at the train. This is our train that we did the video, that Hawkesbury River to Sydney video, and that was a fascinating journey. And so a very important thing is coming along. This is the Hawkesbury River Bridge, the rail bridge. This is a very historic one, and we have passed this when we were actually on that train. Wow, somebody's jet skiing. This bridge is very historic, and the constructions of this bridge happened so many years ago, and all the workers constructed this bridge. They lived on one of these islands, and that's the island, one of those islands that we're going to pass by.
Approximately 3 kilometres long.
And we're going to cross this bridge, so this is a fantastic moment.
Folks, what they call a Class A nature reserve, you know, and on this 100 known Aboriginal etchings, which are like carvings within the sandstone caves on Long Island. And that is the reason why.
Wow.
As I said,
This is fantastic.
In fact, as we're going to come in nice and close to the foreshore here, ladies and gentlemen, of Long Island, we'll proceed along its northern side. There's a couple of quite good examples of the Hawkesbury Sands.
Wow.
I'd like to point out before we go.
So beautiful, isn't it? And if you have watched our video, the Hawkesbury River video, that train ride, we actually gone on this bridge.
Some might find a white-bellied seagull. There is some going here. There is in fact a known nest of the eagle probably going to a roost. To say, hopefully they don't range over here in the waters there somewhere.
Fascinating stuff.
Maybe I'll get it nice and close. And notice you maybe, if you're lucky enough, folks, to take me photos. So we're going to head for a couple of rocks up ahead of us here, ladies and gents. The area of that houseboat is on a mooring up ahead of us. We'll slow down in order to point these couple of rocks out.
Like this one, we will be able to pass by a lot of rock formations, and they will be fascinating, very colorful, almost painted cliffs, and it has always got some sort of Aboriginal connections and heritage. And as the driver was telling that he's going to slow down here because we have a fascinating rock formation that they are very historic and look stunning. Wow. Fascinating rock formations. Wow. This is just amazing. What a fascinating rock formation, isn't it? This is just so colorful. This cruise already within just 10 minutes we are getting so many features. Wow, unbelievable stuff. Although there are a lot of storytelling happening, so it's a bit noisy, but look at these different kind of rocks are all around, and we are passing by very colorful rocks. So now we have got together and we are going in front. Oh, are they going to pick up some people? And look at Orima's background. They're just so colorful. All these rocks are just fantastic, and we are passing by. Very relaxing cruise, and wow, this is just magnificent.
We're going to pull into shortly. Got his name from a Dr. Sample. He was, I believe, the medical officer in charge of both the Peat Island and Milson Island facilities. On the once asylums for the insane. But as we start to come across the mouth of the Sandbrook Inlet, very shortly we'll be able to look to your left, folks. You see there's a lot of boats down within the Sandbrook Inlet. But the fact is, there's a very large charter boat industry operating out of the area to our left. I believe in total there's about 5 different houseboat companies. One being Luxury Afloat, who happen to have their depot at the base of the wharf, about to pull up that shortly. And I think in total, within the Sandbrook Inlet, I think it's up to about...
And as I was telling, that when they developed and constructed that Hawkesbury River Bridge, the rail bridge, all those workers, the construction workers, they used to live on that island called Dangar. These days it's like a conservation area, only very few people live there. And look at the background. We are going to pick a few more people on this cruise from this terminal.
Well, the locals in the area up that way, folks. There's the old Beach Ferry Road. Now, I mentioned Mooney there a little earlier.
Beautiful cruise. This is a very, very relaxing. And also all those 7 islands, the emphasis must be on the conservation and preservation, because those are very, very protected areas and very few people live there and almost no access by roads. So a lot of people actually rely on, as I was saying before, rely on these ferry services. And we are now going to cross this bridge. And look at these. There are some green markers, 2 green markers, as you can see. So boats can only go through those areas. They can't actually go anywhere, so they have to follow that track, and it's like a demarcation of navigation. So basically they have to go through that particular area, almost like a lane on the water.
Peat Ferry Bridge, as I said before, it's known as. Going to go to paint rather slowly. Now, before COVID, it's been the best part of the
And that's the Hawkesbury River Railway Bridge.
Wrapping up the bridge there in certain areas.
A train is passing by.
Then on a spray gun, or make our way past firstly Peat Island.
So this is called Kangaroo Point, and we are going to pick up some people, and then we'll go to Peat Island. Next we are going to Peat Island, and that's about 8 hectares, and it's not a very big island, and it used to be used for asylum and mental health institution, I think, but that's closed. And it was originally named as Rabbit Island, and then it was named as Peat Island in name of George Peat. He was one of the ferry driver, I think. Wow, this is a fantastic moment. 3 speedboats in one frame. If I tell you the name of the islands, the 7 islands that we're going to visit, can you remember them? They're Lion, Dangar, Spectacle, Long, Peat, Milson and Bar Islands. You have to remember all these 7 islands' name as we cruise along. This is your task. So if you can't remember, so you have to watch this whole video. Wow, we're having a wonderful time. So if you have watched this far, thank you very much, and please continue watching as we cruise through all those 7 islands. This cruise has got a fantastic vibe. This is really most enjoyable in Sydney.
Joe will take that.
We are picking up some people.
You're good. You're good. We're not letting you go anywhere. Right. Right.
It's becoming a bit difficult. It's not that easy.
Yes.
Oh,
Thank you. Mind your head, Ben. Mind your head.
that
Thank
couldn't
you.
be me. I couldn't do that.
Cheers.
On record stands, ladies and gents, 35 minutes and 14 seconds. Now that equates averaging just gone 108 miles per hour whilst towing a water scooter. There's 2 races held on that one day. The powerboat race, ladies and gents, but they don't happen to have a water scooter attached to them. And they supposedly average just on 140 miles per hour. Yeah, that's the start of what's known as the Muogamarra National Park. The word Muogamarra, I believe, is supposed in a Wawakal Aboriginal word, and I'm led to believe that it actually means for that which the leader reserve or something similar. Well, that's exactly what's happened there, folks. It's just over 5,000 acres reserved there to the left. Also over on the northern side of the bridge, folks, as we come out from under it. That's the start of what's known there, ladies and gents. It's best part of 2 years ago now that they said,
Now we are passing by a beautiful island, and there are still a few houses, but it's mostly boarded.
Port Arthur facility down in Tasmania. There's a guided walking tours throughout the area.
Okay, so it has got a resemblance with Port Arthur. Very historic, a lot of memories, a lot of histories associated with these islands. As I mentioned, that there are some facilities on this Peat Island, mostly for correction and asylums, and so they have closed down all those facilities. The buildings are still remaining. So now we are moving towards Milson Island, and we are passing through Milson Passage.
Sorry, his son, folks. He's the fellow who bought this island here.
It's named after James Milson. This is really a beautiful island. I think during the Spanish flu, this island was used for a quarantine station, and as our guide was telling, that Milson family, they wanted to develop these islands for wealthy Sydney-siders. They will come over the weekend, and they will have a lot of houses, extraordinary properties with amazing views. But I think that didn't happen because the main person passed away, and so New South Wales governments eventually bought this island and made a quarantine area. These are really nice houses now, and I think you can rent or you can hire these places, and you can stay here for a few days over the weekend, and it looks really nice. Nice area. Next we are moving towards Bar Island. That's a very small island, and at the moment there is no people actually living on that island. Originally, long time ago, they used to have a school, a church, and these days that's actually a protected area for nature lovers, and you can get to notice a fantastic glossy black cockatoos on that island if you are lucky. And we have once again very strong Aboriginal heritage on these all islands, and these rock formations, they always carry some sort of stories. Pristine journey, and we're really loving it, and this is a fantastic weekend and we are loving every moment of this. So look at this boat, and the boat behind, the bigger one is pulling the smaller one, and it's actually a rescue operation because the small one ran out of petrol, so the bigger one, or diesel maybe, and so the bigger one is actually rescuing that small boat with the passengers. So the fun day could be a tricky and dangerous one too. Wow, beautiful sight. And this is actually a very big national park, and you can do whole island, whole national park walking, trekking, whatever you want to do. And that's actually the Bar Island. I think it's one of the smallest of the 7 islands.
Black buildings on the hill beside us. And this parcel of land, I believe, was initially owned by Australia's Admiral Boundary.
Right.
It was officially opened back in
So these are parcel houses.
by the late Prince Philip, no less, the same year as the Melbourne Olympics.
Oh, okay, 1956.
Back in 1970, the property itself sold to the Knox Grammar School down in Sydney.
Also, I'm keeping this video a fair bit of long, and I'm going to keep everything that I'm recording because this is a very, very pristine, relaxing cruise, and so it is going to be a very long video, and you need to enjoy this, and this is just a fantastic ride, so you have to feel the pace, and it's slow, and this cruise can't be done in 10 minutes. Wow, there are a lot of people jet skiing here. Wow, this is a fantastic shot, and this is just fun. People are loving this weekend. Wow.
Mentioned earlier, folks, this settlement near Bar Point is the most popular settlement. With 6 small farmlets, all ranging in acreage. Largest, I believe, was something similar to 20 acres. Initially, supposedly, all citrus orchards. Another story has it that at one stage or another, they're actually grazing a few cattle on the western side of this peninsula here. It's all been subdivided. I believe it's something like 160 lots here, about 146 houses, and the permanent population, as I mentioned before, just on 100 people. Here lies
There's absolutely no road here to this island, so it's only by boat, and only 100 people live here. So I'm not sure what they do if there is a medical emergency, maybe helicopter or New South Wales Rescue.
He's quite happy to come up the river to fill up your tank.
Yeah, not as busy. Yeah, better.
There's no landline telephone line here, folks. Other than a whole day round, we're about to come by just before we turn away from Bar Point, ladies and gents. Cedar-clad cottage right down on the foreshore there.
Wow, this is so impressive. And look at these. They're having wonderful family time, kayaking.
In the middle of all of it. Just what you need here on the cooler months in the Lower Hawkesbury. That happens to be the holdout rental there known as the Oxley Cottage. Now if you were to hire one of these cottages, ladies and gents, and catch a water taxi up from Brooklyn, one way from Brooklyn to one of these cottages here on this eastern side of the peninsula.
So this is the highest mountain here on this river bank. Hawkesbury
We have
River.
ahead of us, ladies and gents, the Cascade Waterfalls, where we have the wreck of the very first HMAS Parramatta. Have a look at that before we continue downstream, heading firstly for now those white balls, ladies and gents, well the fact is they show up on a radar. That's just to let the float planes and the helicopters know where these power lines cross the river.
Wow, look at our background. What a fascinating rock formations we are having. And this is one of the highest points here on this cruise, and this is just so beautiful. And there is a waterfall, although we can't see any water today, but this is just so beautiful.
Coming there, as I said before, ladies and gents, well, we have just ahead of us in the market, within the mangroves here, the wreck of the very first HMAS Parramatta.
Wow!
And the Cascade Water. And the wreck, as you can see it, HMAS Parramatta, ladies and gents. Happens to be the very first newly built warship given to the Royal Australian Navy.
So HMAS Parramatta was
hand-me-downs given to us by the UK. Well, as I said, this is our very first newbie.
First Navy ship.
It's done 246 feet long. Could do 27 knots, suppose, at full power. And we slowly make our way across to the northern side of Milson Island.
So we have just got our lunch, and so this is lunchtime. I've got some ham sandwich, and we have ciabatta and some salad, and some radish there, and Rodina has got some vegetarian options. And what a beautiful locations to have your lunch, whatever the lunch is. So let's enjoy the lunch. We were given some kisses as well, so we have got some kiss on this beautiful cruise.
So before that, we're heading to Dangar Island now. We're going to make our way past the northern side of it, leave it behind, we'll make our way across the Wabi Beach and past Little Wabi.
We are now passing by Dangar Island. Wow, what a beautiful sight this is. I think this is the area where Hawkesbury River is going into the ocean. So finally we are at the Broken Bay, and this is really a bit scary because we are getting a lot of movement. Oh, this is not good. Oliver is not feeling very well. And it's really a bit scary at the moment, although it's very calm. But because it's going so fast, and so we are having a little bit of bumpy ride. And I just zoomed in a little bit, so you'll be able to see how much movement we have. You see, it's about, I would say, 3 degree, maybe 5 degree movement. And so this is the area where Hawkesbury River is going into the ocean. Oh, the movements are really scary at the moment. Oh, I was so scared, I couldn't stand. So now it's a bit stable, and look at the area. We came through that corner, and so this is where Hawkesbury River goes into the ocean. And at the moment it's stable, so I can talk. Otherwise I was just sitting and closing my eyes. And they say there are two theories, that when this kind of movement is happening on a boat, small boat like this, you need to look at something stable like land or a landmass or landmark. And the other option is that you close your eyes and think that nothing is happening. Neither works for me. But I hope you are enjoying this video. So that was the Broken Bay, and we are just turning around and going back to our starting point now. So on the left it's called Lion Island. This is actually looks like a sphinx crouching, so that's why it's called Lion Island. And it's actually at the very middle of the Broken Bay. Amazing rock formation, and there are little sea beaches here. Look at these. These people are parking here, private boat, and having a wonderful time, barbecuing, fishing, swimming. Wow, this is nice. This is nice way of spending the weekend. This journey is just magnificent. All these rock formations and towering just beside us, and look at the color. It's just so bright.
You may notice, ladies and gents, are about to flower. These ones, you can either call them the ones that are about to flower, that is with a salmon-coloured bark, salmon-coloured trunk, either what's known as a smooth barked apple tree, Sydney red gum they also call them, or Angostura costada, all about to flower.
So we're sailing very close to the rocks, and there will be some Aboriginal paintings that we will be noticing very soon. And these formations, look at these formations, they actually create a lot of waterfalls.
That's what we're heading for here just ahead of us. That's that dark rusty colour directly below that boulder where those two rocks meet is where we're going to see very shortly this Aboriginal etchings about to come into view.
Oh, this is where we'll see some Aboriginal paintings.
As I said, folks, slowly turn the boat into the water, into the foreshore. Very wide boulder. Below that boulder, two rocks meeting with a rather dark rusty colour. You see the etchings, Aboriginal etchings starting to come into view there now. 10, possibly 12 foot off the water's edge.
If you look at this area, you can see this is the Aboriginal etchings and this is the rock paintings. Yeah, look like fish. So look at this. These are some Aboriginal paintings on the rock, and it could be up to 10,000 years old. Wow, we have seen this in Western Australia and Northern Territory. Here near Sydney, just fascinating, amazing. And someone is fishing here and just caught a massive fish. Full of jellyfish. Wow.
Jellyfish kingdom.
Jellyfish kingdom. So we are returning back where we started 3 hours ago. What an amazing journey, isn't it? And this has been a fantastic river cruise, and it was so near to Sydney, and it was a perfect weekend. What an amazing journey we're having. This cruise is just magnificent. If you're in Sydney and if you have time and the matching and the timing of the cruise matches with your timing, you should definitely do this 1 hour train ride to Hawkesbury River Station and take this ride, this amazing river cruise. It is just so beautiful, and it's only cost about 70 Australian dollars. So that includes morning tea and lunch and this spectacular river cruise. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you very much for watching this video and cruising with us on this beautiful Hawkesbury River. Goodbye until the next video.